Imagine a man who once controlled an empire worth billions, a man who walked the fine line between luxury and lawlessness. Picture him standing in the shadows of history's most notorious crime syndicate, the Medellin Cartel. But here's the twist. This man, Fabio Ochoa Vásquez, has just been released from prison. After 25 years. What happens next? Stick around, because this story will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about justice, redemption, and the power of secrets. The story begins in the glittering chaos of 1970s Miami. Fabio Ochoa Vásquez, the youngest of the infamous Ochoa brothers, wasn't just living the high life, he was engineering it. Alongside his brothers, Juan David and Jorge Luis, Fabio managed one of the most lucrative drug operations the world had ever seen, the Medellin Cartel. They called him the chief executive of the cartel, the strategist who made sure thousands of pounds of cocaine flowed smoothly into the United States. By 1987, Fabio and his brothers graced the Forbes list of billionaires. But what does it take to climb to such heights? And what does it cost? With great power comes great peril. The Medellin Cartel didn't just make money, they made enemies. One of those enemies was Barry Seal, a pilot turned informant for the DEA. On February 19, 1986, Seal was gunned down in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, a hit that many believe the cartel orchestrated. Fabio's name surfaced in connection with the crime. Was he the mastermind, or was he simply a cog in the cartel's deadly machine? But here's where the story takes a turn. In 1991, Fabio and his brothers did something no one expected. They turned themselves in to Colombian authorities. Their goal? To avoid an all-out war with the government. It worked. They secured a plea deal, served a few short years in prison, and walked free, protected by a promise that they wouldn't be extradited to the United States. For a while, it seemed like Fabio might live out his days quietly, far from the chaos of his past. But the past has a way of catching up. In 1999, he was arrested again, accused of contributing his expertise to a new wave of cocaine shipments. This time, there was no plea deal. In 2001, Fabio was extradited to the United States. Convicted of trafficking and conspiracy, Fabio Ochoa Vásquez was sentenced to 30 years in federal prison. His empire crumbled. The Colombian government seized his properties, farms, businesses, even luxury estates worth millions. The billionaire turned prisoner faded from public view. But empires don't disappear that easily. On December 3, 2024, Fabio Ochoa Vásquez walked out of a U.S. federal prison. A free man. He was deported to Colombia just weeks later. The question on everyone's mind: what happens now? Will Fabio quietly retire, or does he still have secrets to share? Think about it. This man knows where the bodies are buried, literally and figuratively. He was at the center of the Medellin Cartel, a criminal enterprise that reshaped the world's perception of power, wealth, and corruption. Could his release reignite old rivalries? Or worse, could it reveal hidden truths that some would kill to keep buried? For a man who once dictated the flow of billions, disappearing into obscurity might seem impossible. Even behind bars, whispers of his influence never truly faded. Some say he maintained connections with old allies, men who never stopped working in the shadows. Others believe he spent his years in prison in quiet reflection, resigned to a fate he could never undo. But there's another theory, one that's even more unsettling. What if Fabio's return to Colombia isn't the end of his story, but the beginning of something new? The landscape of the drug trade has evolved. The Medellín Cartel is long gone, dismantled in the wake of Pablo Escobar's death. In its place, new players, new alliances, and new methods have taken control. Yet some of those players owe their fortunes to the very foundation the Ochoa brothers helped build. Could Fabio still hold a stake in the empire he once commanded? And then there's the question of secrets. Men like Fabio don't survive at the top without knowing things that could rewrite history. Corrupt politicians, high-ranking officials, and even rival cartels may have more than just a passing interest in ensuring Fabio Ochoa Vásquez stays silent. Is his freedom a gift or a warning? One thing is certain: Fabio Ochoa Vásquez is back, and whether he chooses to reclaim his throne, expose the past, or disappear into the shadows, the world will be watching. Fabio's story has inspired countless adaptations. From Narcos to Pablo Escobar, El Patrón del Mal, his life has been repeatedly portrayed on screen. But here's the thing: those portrayals only scratch the surface. The real mystery is what's still unknown. Why did Fabio decide to turn himself in back in 1991? Was it really to avoid war? Or was there another motive? And during his 25 years in prison, did he ever reveal the cartel's secrets? Or did he use his time to plan a new chapter? These are the questions that haunt the story of Fabio Ochoa Vásquez. The question is, will Fabio Ochoa Vásquez let the world see the truth? Or is the truth more dangerous than we can imagine? Can a man like Fabio Ochoa Vásquez ever truly escape his past? Or does the shadow of the Medellín Cartel stretch too far, too deep, to ever let him go? One thing's for sure: this isn't just a story about a cartel kingpin. It's a story about power, betrayal, and the price of freedom. And now, I want to hear from you. What do you think is next for Fabio Ochoa Vásquez? Is he hiding something, or has he truly left his past behind? Drop your theories in the comments below, because I'll be reading them. And who knows, your insight might just lead us to the next piece of the puzzle. If you're as fascinated by mysteries like this as I am, make sure to like this video, share it with a fellow mystery lover, and hit that subscribe button. We've got more stories coming your way, stories that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew. Until next time, keep questioning the shadows.